Hello and welcome to another episode of Binocular and Scope Insights. My name's Russell and I'm here with my good friend Rob from Kowa. Thanks for coming down with us, Rob, today. And today we're going to continue our series of having a deeper dive into the practical merits of what you can get from your existing camera kit in conjunction with a Prominar spotting scope when you're using it for digiscoping and getting results of images at greater distances than you may have ever imagined were possible. And today we're looking at, in particular, the benefits of using a micro four thirds camera. They obviously have their own inherent characteristics which make them and give them advantages, maybe for greater depth, for example, in a smaller form factor thanks to its sensor size. But Rob, tell us a bit more about how it can be used in conjunction with whatever eyepiece you're using and the kind of results that you can expect to get.
Yeah, I think if you go out in the field and you see digiscopers using a conventional camera rather than the smartphone, very often it will be this micro four thirds system. And one of the most basic reasons is just how compact they are.
The small one,
you've got a compact scope, you've got a compact camera, no need for a huge lens, a telephoto lens and a huge camera body. So that's one basic reason. The micro four thirds sensor is 2 times crop factor of a full frame, so you've got a hell of a telephoto reach there. You can keep a real respectful distance from the subject, which is really important. You know, many times you can see if a rare bird or animal's there, it can often be a free-for-all. I've seen it myself out in the field. So with the digiscoping, you can stay well back. You don't have to disturb the subject. But there's a certain method that these digiscopers are using, and there's reasons behind it. Because of this crop factor, if I was to put this micro four thirds body straight onto this scope using our conventional adapter, just with a micro four thirds,
that's the PA7A,
the PA7A with a T2 ring that fits micro four thirds, I put it on there, and you're talking a minimum of 2000 millimeter, and that's a lot of telephoto power to control. It's a small sensor. The noise reduction and the control of noise is not quite so good as a full frame camera. So it's a challenge to use body only. So what they do is they put a pancake lens on, typically a 20 or a 25 mil pancake lens.
Right.
Put that onto the body, and that has a positive effect of reducing the focal length, the starting focal length, down to 1000 mil. And you can very easily calculate the effective focal length by basically take whatever the eyepiece is set to. That could be 25 times as its widest. Yep. 20 mil of the lens on the camera, times that together, it gives you 500 mil. That's full frame. Then you've got to take into account the crop factor of the micro four thirds, so times it by 2, and that's how you get your 1000 mil. So you crank it up to 60 times, and then you can just do the same calculation to get whatever focal length. So, but 1000 mil is a great place to start. So all the benefits. So using this method, the camera and the lens has seen the bright image that the eyepiece is projecting. All the built-in software between the lens and the camera is working together to reduce chromatic aberration. It's just a great system that really, really does work well. You get faster shutter speeds than going body only. So obviously you don't need to have quite so high ISO settings, and it just works really well. Typically these lenses are very fast, f1.8, so they're allowing a lot of light through. It's a very bright image coming through the scope, and then that camera and the lens is capturing that image. So you can see why they go down this route. So
it's a really nice marriage between the two. So you've got no CA or chromatic aberration from the spotting scope. The micro four thirds camera in conjunction with a pancake lens, again, no CA at all. And using those two in conjunction gives you a base focal length of an equivalent 1000 mil. So incredible power in an incredibly compact system. It's lightweight and portable and produces beyond broadcast quality images that are truly staggering, with amazing depth of field, subject pop, and no compromise in edge-to-edge sharpness. And the colours are just so rich and natural. Yep.
And the 1000 mil is your baseline. You could push it if you go up to 60 times, 2540 mil. So I mean, you need good light, and you need a good tripod and things. So, but I mean, 1000 mil minimum. It's a great place to have a real strong telephoto portable system as well with the scope and the small camera. So at Kowa, we're known for our digiscoping adapters with the smartphones, the full frame, any system you want to put on. So we accommodate micro four thirds very nicely for this method. And all we need is the DA10, the TSN DA10 adapter. We've mentioned it before on other videos. And you just change this ring here, so the screw-on ring, whatever the filter thread size of your lens is, typically on these Micro Four Thirds, it's usually around 46mm.
Yeah.
So you use our TSN AR46 ring, screw that onto the DA10, and that goes straight into the filter thread of your lens.
And then you just couple the DA10 to the eyepiece with
Yeah.
the screw fit.
Just take the eye relief cap off.
Okay.
There, and then you've got this thread here. There's an inner collar to the DA10.
Oh, that's great.
That
So
pushes on. Yeah.
Put them on independently.
Yeah. And because the Micro Four Thirds system is so compact, you're not putting strain onto the eyepiece or the bayonet mount. You know, if it was a big DSLR, we recommend using the PA7 because you're attaching straight onto the body.
Yeah.
But with this system, it's very simple, very straightforward, and you can just push that on like so, and then tighten it, and you're ready to go.
Yeah.
Shoot portrait if you want to, just by adjusting the locking nut there.
Yeah.
And there you go. So there I've got a minimum of 1000mm, a really fast, bright telephoto lens.
Yeah. And not a hint of vignetting, no blackening around the edges, no occlusion to the image at all, and no wobble or play. All critical factors when you've already set your tripod up. Maybe you've got spikes on it as well, just to mitigate any connection to the ground causing any vibration. So really a slick system for, as we said, beyond broadcast quality images that's accessible for anybody that's using a Micro Four Thirds camera and may not necessarily want to spend the next £5,000 to £13,000 or more on the new premium class long focal length lenses.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at some of our ambassadors' work online, some of the YouTube videos they're shooting, some of the stills, you just think there's no way that must be a huge lens in a DSLR, but it's Digiscopes and it's incredible. A few pointers: the dual focus, precision focus helps because, you know, as you're 1000mm plus, you need that fine tuning, and that really does help.
Yeah, it works brilliantly on adjusting your focus peaking, just dialing that out.
The other interesting thing when you use this method is, I mean, most of the Digiscopers, the advanced ones, they'll put everything into manual mode on the camera.
Yeah.
But what you can do is there is a tolerance, if you keep it on autofocus, there is a tolerance that when you're focusing on the scope, the camera will adjust the back focus, and it can, especially if you're learning and getting into it, it will make sure it's sharp for you. But
and what mode would that be in on the camera?
You just put it in AF mode.
Yeah.
And it does work. So, but as you get more and more advanced, especially if you're hunting around through reed beds and things, maybe you're after a sedge warbler or something, having that manual control is the key.
Yeah, and you get the eye of the bittern when he takes off and does his flight across the reeds.
Yeah.
You want to track it. Yeah.
And if you want to go back to eye observation, it's as simple as that, and you can just use the scope conventionally and then just push that back on.
So you can use it ready to go to put your camera on as and when you want.
As and when you want, yeah.
Yeah, as the scene around you is changing, requiring your action. Yeah, Rob, thanks ever so much for demystifying how practical and simple it is to get the most out of a Micro Four Thirds camera in conjunction with your Prominar spotting scope for premium quality footage as you Digiscope. Thanks so much, Rob, and thank you very much for watching.